everybody survived last night with the wind and the rain and all the good stuff there. But I don't know, I see some blue sky peeking out there, so I'm hopeful for the turn and it won't be too wild here. But again, I thought it was kind of fun. As I woke up this morning, I seen some trivia, or not really trivia, but some things about Friday the 13th, and it's always been superstitious. But one thing I saw as far as trivia, I think it's interesting. You can tell if a month has a Friday the 13th in it if it starts on a Sunday, which I never realized or looked at that correlation. But if their month starts on a Sunday, you've got a Friday the 13th. So lots of things around that, lots of horror movies, lots of things. And so one question for the group: how many Friday the 13th movies are there?
Oh man.
Oh.
Did the Freddy versus Jason movie count? Do those count?
I think so. That's all baked in that legacy for that trilogy or whatever they call it.
Way too many.
More than that.
Really? 12.
12 is right. Thinking about Seahawks, 12 right. So that leads me to believe there's going to be one more. So I mean, there's got to be a 13 Friday the 13th. So anyway, in fact, so some of the origins of Friday the 13th actually are biblical. They talk about like the Last Supper. There were 13 people at the supper, and Judas Iscariot was actually considered the 13th guest, which is kind of strange or superstitious as well. But just lots of things, people were born on this day, like Alfred Hitchcock. This is his birthday. So in 1999 would have been his 100th birthday on Friday, and it landed on a Friday the 13th as well. So just kind of interesting, but just lots of fun stuff around that. Well, I don't want to take up too much time, but there's a ton of trivia out there, and I know that there are different groups that have trivia nights. So I think that we should, next time that comes up, let's do an ambassador trivia group. Let's form a group, because I think that'd be a ton of fun. So
that'd be fun.
I think the Yo-Pros are doing trivia tonight. At Wolf Tree.
Well, that would be, we got to get signed up for that.
Young professionals, I meant. Did I say ambassadors? I meant young professionals.
Yep, no problem. I think you said Yo-Pros.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
So again, my pleasure to introduce Faith Kreskey, which is the new executive director for the Lincoln County Historical Society, an organization that promotes and preserves local history through the BURROWS House Museum, the Pacific Maritime Heritage Museum, and the Log Cabin Research Library. She's a graduate of Willamette University and of the University of Oregon. So Faith has over 10 years experience as a museum professional and was previously the head of curatorial. I think I'm saying that right. I've never seen that word before yesterday.
Curatorial, because I used to work at a museum.
We say that word again? Say it one more time.
Curatorial.
Okay, that's interesting. But she was at the Department of the Linn County History Museum in Eugene. So take it away, Faith.
All right, well, thank you so much for having me on this Friday morning. And yeah, I'm really excited. I've been at the Lincoln County Historical Society now since August. So it's definitely been a bit of an adventure taking over an institution and moving in the middle of COVID. But yeah, it's been a challenging time, but we've been able to work on some really exciting projects. So can I screen share? I have a little presentation.
I think I set it up this morning, so you can go ahead and do it. Try it.
Okay. There we go.
And then let me make sure you can. Is there sound?
Yes.
I just want to make sure that you have.
Oh no, there's no sound in the presentation. It's
okay. All right, then you're good to go.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, but just a little bit about myself before I start talking about some of the exciting things. I mean, even though we have remained closed to the public, part of that is because as an industry, historical museums haven't really found a great way for smaller museums to open. And especially with the increased cleaning measures, it's really difficult, especially for an institution with as small staff as we have, to kind of navigate that during this time. The other issue is, especially at the Burroughs house, we have a lot of historic material out that we can't sanitize properly. So it's really hard to assure the safety of people. Like you can't use industrial sanitizers on, a historic piece of furniture, or, the Burroughs house itself and the Pacific Maritime Museum are both historic buildings. So, but in the meantime, we've been using that downtime to really work on some behind the scenes projects that I think will really pay off in the coming years. So yeah, I'm going to share some of that with you, and hopefully it won't be too boring. I tried to highlight some of the more exciting parts. We're doing a lot of kind of technical behind the scenes work, so I'm trying to share the more interesting parts of that work. So a little bit about me. I have a background as an art historian and a social historian. I've been working as a curator for the last 5 years. I also had a series of internships in different curatorial capacities. And museum work really is my passion. I absolutely love working in museums. Pretty much every day you have to deal with a completely bizarre situation or very strange kind of problem solving. So it's very, very interesting and rewarding work. So just a little about me. This is kind of my approach to history. I like to make it fun and interesting. This is myself and the curator at the Springfield History Museum at a Halloween themed trivia event we did, where I'm dressed as the founder of Springfield, Elias Briggs, and she's dressed as the founder of Eugene Skinner, and we are rival ferry operators, which is something that actually happened. And so we hosted a Springfield versus Eugene trivia night, which was quite a hit, although we confused the other patrons at the bar as to why we were dressed up like old-timey men wearing cardboard boats. But, I like to approach history with kind of a sense of humanity and a real sense of humor. I also am an award-winning historian. I won the American Association of State and Local History After Hours Improv Comedy Contest in 2017. And I found out recently I'm technically still the current reigning champion because they quit doing the contest after the year I won. But I like to try to make history interesting and engaging for people. And that's something we're really working on doing at the museum, is creating exhibits that really mean something to people today. So as far as Pacific Maritime Heritage Center goes, we completed, I'm sure you all are very aware of this, but we completed the Door Floor Theater renovation project back in the fall. Sadly, we have not been able to use that facility as much as we would like. I am creating a new rental system and a new fee structure to allow people to rent the facility. We're looking into getting movie screenings, different conferences. We're kind of trying to branch out in the types of events we're able to host. We're also set up to host musical events. And I'm trying to get all of the groundwork in to really promote that once we're going to be able to open. And we're looking at reopening late winter, early spring 2021. So we'll be promoting that soon. I'm sure you all are very fond of Frank Geltner. We will be doing a piano concert in commemoration of his very generous donation of a 1915 Steinway piano that you can actually see there. It's an absolutely beautiful instrument. So we will be having some sort of a musical performance. I think he already has people in mind, but that will be happening probably around March or April of next year. We also, if any of you have driven down the Bayfront lately, we've completed the first phase of our pedestrian pathway project. So we have done major structural repairs to our driveway and parking lot, which was pretty exciting. It took about 2 weeks longer than we expected because we found a large metal tank sunk in the middle of the parking lot, probably by Howdy, a previous owner of the building. So yeah, it was a little bit exciting to figure out what that was and what to do with it. But we have a beautiful new driveway. It's really easy access. We should be able to have larger vehicles and buses be able to make it up there. And we didn't have a lot of good photographs of it, but the little, the curb and the path, the dirt path you can see up there, that is actually going to be a pedestrian walkway. and it will go from the sidewalk below all the way up to the side entrance kind of by the theater. And it's going to have a couple terraced patios, which will have viewing areas with interpretation. And Bill Hunshoemaker, who is now with NOAA, has volunteered to help us landscape a native plant garden that will also have interpretation. So it's really exciting, and we're hoping it'll help drive foot traffic and make access much easier. The nice thing with the new driveway too is it helps us with our ADA accessibility, which for a museum and a historic house, the Pacific Maritime Heritage Museum really does a great job as far as ADA accessibility. I was really excited to see like they had an elevator, appropriate ramps, all of that stuff, which that's a big problem in a lot of museums. So yeah, well, I don't know that we have a completion date right now for the pedestrian pathway, and we're also currently still seeking donations to complete that project. It's the Fund a Foot project, and you can find more information about that on the LCH website. So also going on at the PMHC, along with the beautiful rental spaces and its use as a venue, we also use it for museum exhibitry and storage. And we have a large number of artifacts there that came from various offsite storage locations, and a lot of them had never been cataloged. So I have one of my front of house staff members who's been working on that, and he is super excited to be able, he spent a lot of years running charter boats and doing diving. So he's super excited to be able to use his knowledge about boats, but wanted to share some of the exciting things we've found. So does anybody have any guesses for what this is?
Some sort of paddle.
Ooh, somebody said surfboard.
I did.
Yeah, good work. Yeah, that is, it is, it's, they called it wave skipping at the time, but this is a 1910 surfboard. Yeah, it's pretty wild. We don't have any donor information on it, so I'm going to keep researching it and hopefully we can find its previous owner. But that is a really amazing quality 1910 surfboard. And we actually have some really fun photos of people surfing around that time. It doesn't look super safe. And since we have somebody with the aquarium, you might enjoy this. This is a model of Keiko's release netting that they used. I think it's the one they used in Iceland. This was a model built, it's made with little PVC tubes and toothpicks and an old fishing net. And so it's a little model of Keiko's release tank. And my curator is also a millennial, and she is very, very, very excited to do some sort of a Keiko exhibit. We have a lot of the commemorative merchandise and material around Keiko. So we're going to do some kind of a little mini exhibit kind of about things around, you know, people's memories of Keiko and that kind of more contemporary history. I found a can of Keiko branded soda a few weeks ago. So
I can't wait to see it. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and I was thinking it's a really good opportunity to do interactives, you know, have like a way that people can write down their memories, you know, just excitement around that, or memories of the movie, or memories visiting the aquarium. So I think that'll be a really fun thing. Okay, this is my favorite thing we've found so far. Now, does anybody have any guesses for what this is? It has since been dusted. I will tell you that. It's been cleaned since this photograph was taken. This is the very day I found it.
Is it a foghorn?
Yeah, portable foghorn.
It's a portable foghorn. It is a, this is basically a compressor pump with a phonograph horn attached to it. And this is a particular model, so it was called a fireman's aid. Could be used for diving or firefighting, but you can unscrew the foghorn and use it as an air compressor for people wearing like diving suits or early like fire suits. So it's from 1898, and I have to figure out if it will work and that this won't damage it, but I plan on posting a video at some point to our social media page actually trying to sound it, because I am dying to know what this sounds like. A lot of antique foghorns don't sound as exciting as they look, but I have hopes for this one. So these are some of the items we've discovered, and part of what this work will help us do is to be able to create exhibits more quickly. And also, if people want to use our artifact collection as well as our research archives for research, it just helps us make these things more available. And eventually, and this is in like 4 to 5 year time range, we're planning on putting as much of our collections online as possible. So people will be able to access photographs and basic information about most of our collections. So that's a really big thing in museums now as far as accessibility, is just letting people see exactly what your museum has. So the Log Cabin Research Library, which is where our curator works, it is not operated as public museum space. We do normally, under non-COVID times, we allow people to come in and work on research and access some of our materials. We do have a couple volunteers who are coming in now, which is great. We have a former digital archivist who is a really big deal in the field. When I met him, I was like, oh, I know your name. We just happened to have him volunteering digitizing the Scott Blackman photograph collection, which is a really amazing photograph collection from the 70s and 80s. And then we have a former archivist from King County who's helping work on our audio collection. So we're very lucky in our volunteers. But along with that work, we've also been working on increasing our social media activity and posting a wider range of topics. This is a post that'll be going up later this week for Native American History Month. And it's a woman named Annie Peterson, who was an artist who made basketry. And this is her, she's in the process of making a basket. And this is her with all of her material that she's made. And we think that we actually have several of the baskets in this photograph in our collection. But it's one thing that's really amazing about our archival collection is the amount of detail we have. Like, a lot of the photographs are actually identified to a degree that isn't present in most other photographic collections. And especially with our photographs of Indigenous people, we have entire families, we have partial genealogies, we have a depth of information about them that just you don't find in other archives in the state of Oregon. But yeah, Annie Peterson, she's she's a pretty amazing lady. We all love this photo. We've also been posting about different historic events and important anniversaries. The Yaquina Bridge turned 84, I think, back in September. So this has been one of our most popular posts to date. Obviously, it's a very striking photograph. And that's another wonderful thing about this collection that you don't always see, is we actually have some really talented artists represented by our collection who make visually striking work. So along with being just straight up historical documentation resource, it also is a visual resource as well. This one we just posted yesterday, extremely popular. We've had multiple requests for copies of it. Apparently this was a big event when it happened, but this is the USS Blackfin docked in Newport in 1962. And apparently they brought children on to tour it as a field trip. So that's been fun to hear people's memories. And that's a really nice thing about posting more recent history, is just the conversations that happen around it.
Am I the only person that lost faith?
Oh, I can hear you, Jed.
I can hear you guys, but she froze up.
Okay, well,
Her screen is still up, though.
We just had the power flashed here in town, so I wonder if she might have lost power or internet.
Yeah, I had a flash here a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
About a minute ago.
See if she pops back on. It's very interesting, isn't it?
I know.
Amazing.
Very good.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I'm recording.
Yeah, I saw that up there.
Thank you.
Thank you for remembering. Should always just start with that automatically.
Oh, there she is.
My internet went out. Thanks a lot, Friday. Okay, let's see. Where was I? Oh, I was getting to a good one. We've also been working on health and safety. So this is something our curator discovered, and that is a 6-ounce bottle of mercury that at some point somebody found beachcombing in the 90s and felt was appropriate to donate to the museum. So luckily my curator isolated it and had it in a safe location. And as soon as we called hazmat, he was like, yeah, I'll come over right now. He was very, very excited about this. And he spent a good half an hour explaining exactly how it was used. It was used for gold mining. And so it was a fun learning opportunity. This is not unsurprising. Oregon had a lot of mercury manufacturing, so you just find a lot of it. But this is definitely the biggest bottle of straight up mercury I've seen in a museum in quite a while. Right. So at the Burroughs house, we are working on a couple really exciting projects. I can't quite share the details of one of them yet, but I just wanted to give a little bit of background on it so that when we are able to publicize it, it'll be even more exciting. So this is one thing that has happened in the past few months is this is the famous crab queen agate crown that was thought to be lost for a number of years. And it was actually discovered to have been sold with an agate shop. And when the family were going through the estate, they found it again and reached out to the museum, and it's been on loan for about 2 years, but the family made the decision to formally donate it to us. So this is one of our new acquisitions. It's from the 1930s and it's made out of cut and polished agates. It's really, really visually beautiful, but it was made by a local jewelry maker named A.J. Thomas, and then it was sold to the Emerson family. And Robert Emerson, reached out right after I started and his family felt like it needed to be brought back to the city of Newport. And so they very kindly donated it to us. So we're going to be there. It's on display now, but we're going to make a little bit of a more elaborate and detailed display with it and try to find more photographs of the different crab queens wearing it. But it's probably one of the true showpieces of the collection. It's a really striking piece. So I'm sure a lot of you, especially the long-term residents, are very familiar with the Copeland collection. It's an extensive collection of selettes, specifically artifacts, and it was collected by Clorinda G. Copeland, who was a local store owner who actually owned a business and traded a lot with the Selettes people when they were living on the reservation. And so it's items that she purchased or traded for with them. And part of the reason it's so amazing is it's one of the few collections I've come across where we actually have complete provenance on the pieces. We know exactly when they were purchased. We know who they were made by. We know who they were purchased from. We even have photographs of the individuals wearing the items or making the items. It's one of the most completely documented Native American collections I've come across in the state of Oregon, and that is truly amazing. So we are working on inventorying and basically rehousing the collection to take better care of it. And we are in discussion with the federal governing organizations who oversee the Native American Graves Repatriation Act, or NAGPRA, which is basically the act that oversees the legal transfer back to the tribal people of their materials. So we're currently in discussion to see what our options are there. And we've been talking with the Selettes, who are currently working on building their own cultural center. So hopefully we will be able to work with them on doing what's right with this collection. But just wanted to share some photographs of it. This is a jingle skirt. So it's basically a dancing skirt, and it's made with hand carved wooden beads. And then these are European like pressed glass beads, and it's got quill work and leather. I think it's elk leather up here. And then it has hand carved seashell jingles. It's a mix of metal buttons, seashells, like little commercially like store-bought bells and thimbles. But just the amount of work that went into something like this is just completely, it would have taken months, but it's absolutely beautiful. And this is another slightly less heavy. This is like an overskirt. This particular piece belonged to Mary Catfish, who you can see here. And this is Mary Catfish and her entire extended family. But we have multiple pieces that were made and worn by Mary, and it would be really great to allow her family to be able to have access to these pieces in a more meaningful way than we can. Because they're in a museum, we're limited in the things that we can do with them and how people can access them. So we're really looking forward to being able to move forward with some of these plans. But it's really an amazing collection, and we're also looking to just find ways to publish research about this collection and just get it to be more widely known in the state, because it is a really important research resource for a variety of people, and it just hasn't gotten the publicity it deserves. So that's another thing that we'll be working on as well. Yeah, and these are some overviews of some of the other pieces in the collection, the beadwork and the quality of the beadwork and the condition it's in. Like some of these pieces are from the 1890s, 1900s. They're in truly amazing condition. So when I walked in the first time I came to the museum and saw this collection, I was really blown away by it. So it's really an amazing thing for the community to have. Yeah, so that's basically what we've been working on. And it doesn't seem like it's a lot going on, but it's definitely been keeping us busy over the last few months.
I'd say you've been very busy since August.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Definitely hit the ground running.
I guess.
Very interesting.
Does anyone have questions for Faith?
Not specific to this, but I'd love to get in contact with you because I'm also the treasurer for the Lindbergh House Preservation Society. Mm-hmm. And it'd be good to have contacts in the historical field, as we just formed back in June. And we're dedicated to the preservation of the Lindbergh House in Port Orford.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another thing that we've been kind of working on as best we can. My curator worked for the Heceta Head Lighthouse, and we've reached out to, there are too many lighthouses. I'm still thinking about Lane County stuff. Yaquina Head Lighthouse, and we've reached out to Yaquina Bay. And so we're slowly starting to reach out to, and we want to get in touch with the aquarium as well, but we're slowly reaching out to other historical organizations to try to get work together more, and other historical organizations and museums and similar entities to try to get more collaboration and cohesion. So yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
I have a question, kind of a little bit off subject too, but we've been doing a little bit of research on the cemetery in Seal Rock. Mm-hmm. And I had heard that you guys had some good information. There's a grave of all it says is Pioneer Girl. And apparently, I had heard there was some information about her, but I haven't been able to find anything.
Yeah.
So I get with you about that.
Yeah. You can email my curator, Lacey, and her email is just curator@OregonCoastHistory.org. I will give the caveat, Lacey and I are both relatively new, and part of the reason we're doing so much inventory work on everything, the entire collection was organized assuming there would always be someone who had always worked there. So basically our research archive is organized like a home library. So you can go ahead and email the request. It might take us a little bit to fulfill, but we do have a lot of research into pioneer cemeteries and a lot of specific resources about genealogies of early families. So we may be able to find something. It may just take a little bit. I gave that caveat just to explain, like, it might take us a bit, but we can try to help.
Sure.
I know at one time I was looking for some pictures of the Agate Beach area, and I made an appointment and went to the Burroughs house, and it was amazing, all of the photos that was there. I just was like blown away how you could just sit and go through all these photos and that. And then I don't know if you're doing it now because of COVID, but you can also purchase copies of some of those photos as well.
Yeah, we still offer that. If it's something like you see a picture we posted on social media, or if it's you just want a general picture, like a picture of, you know, the bridge or Agate Beach or, you know, something generic, we can fulfill those. It's when people ask for very specific things, like I want a picture of this house at this address from this date. Our photos aren't completely inventoried in the way that they should be. Like nothing is actually cataloged like it would be normally or should be, like the library isn't cataloged. We still are offering that, and that's one thing we're working on. We're actually pursuing a grant later this year that will help us actually get everything available so that people can go to our, eventually what we would like people to be able to do is to be able to just go to our website and be able to search our photo catalog. But we have about, I would estimate, just rough guess at a minimum, 30,000 images. That's probably a low ball. It's probably closer to 40 to 50,000 images. So it's a treasure trove. Like you reach in a box and start going through it and you find something great. So we're really excited to work towards making that more accessible. And that's, you know, again, in the 4 to 5 year range, but we'll get there.
Great.
Faith, I got a question for you. With your move here from Lane County, have you found a permanent house?
I did. I found a really great apartment. Pure luck. I got on Craigslist the right day. My landlord is great. It's a convert, and it's also exciting for me because it's a converted old house. Like it's an old vacation house from about 1910. So it's very cool. But I got on Craigslist at the right day on the right time and just found, as soon as I found it, I was like, whatever you need, I will give you whatever money, whatever you want. I had to get letters of recommendation from like 3 or 4 people, but I was like, whatever, I'll do it. I don't care. I knew I grew up in Reedsport and I know the coast. So I knew, like, moving here, I was prepared for it to take several months. So the fact that I found a place in a couple of weeks was just amazing.
Well, what I would say is we have realtors in our group, with Lila being one of them. We have lenders in our group with Jessica, which is not here. So, you know, mortgage lenders. You know, we've got Ryan with BBSI and helps in all kinds of bookkeeping and accounting and things like that. So, you know, what we're doing is asking, you know, if you have interest to become part of our group as the ambassadors, we're always looking for new members, and we're a very active group and enjoy, you know, again, traditionally we would meet every Friday. We'd help showcase businesses and highlight businesses like we've done today with the Historical Society. But, you know, if you are interested in connecting and having a, you know, kind of a group together, contact Jeanette at the chamber and she'll help you kind of talk more about that. But we have a real great group, and not to mention Jenny is our Sunshine Committee person. So she just really brings the light to the whole group there for us. So again, welcome, and wonderful presentation today. So sure, thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks to you. And yeah, I'll be in touch, you know. I'm still figuring out my job a little bit, but I definitely think this would be a great opportunity.
Well, you're always welcome to sit in on, you know, like the month-end meeting, so you can get a good feel for kind of the activities in the group, and that's been helpful for folks before they've kind of done the launch into being an official ambassador. So just let me know if that's of interest to you.
Yeah, yeah, that would be
on the
great.
spot.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it.
Well, any other comments or any other questions from the group here? Well, I don't hear too many, so maybe we have opportunity to hop off early and we get some more coffee and get more prepared for our Friday the 13th here that we're in the midst of. So I know king tides are coming, so spread the word, be safe, and be aware, all those things that we always got to worry about that locals forget or don't know about. So pass the word there. So I'm going to go ahead and hop off. Good seeing everybody. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Stay safe, everybody.
Great presentation, Faith. Thank you. See you, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Good to see you.
Bye.